The top 5 real exorcisms. The Tanaku exorcism. In 2005, Irina Cornici, a 23-year-old nun, had moved to an isolated hilltop monastery in Romania. Only weeks later, she began regularly giggling during Mass. It didn't take long before she descended into utter madness and was diagnosed with schizophrenia. Doctors say Cornici believed she heard the devil talking to her, telling her she was sinful. After a 2-week treatment, the hospital released her into the care of the monastery. But again, Cornici started acting strangely. Father Daniel Corigianu, the priest of the monastery, and 4 nuns decided to try a different method of curing her: exorcism. They bound Cornici to a cross, gagged her with a towel, and left her in a dank room at the convent for 3 days without food, where she died of suffocation and dehydration. The shocking case was widely publicized throughout the world, following a lengthy trial where the 5 were convicted of murdering Cornici. Just before his arrest, the 29-year-old priest stated during a Romanian TV interview, "You can't take the devil out of people with pills." Clara Germana Sela. In 1906, Clara Germana Sela was a 16-year-old orphan girl at St. Michael's Mission in Natal, South Africa. The story goes that Clara, who had lost all hope, made a pact with Satan. She soon began exhibiting odd behavior. She spoke and understood languages that were previously unknown to her, and she demonstrated clairvoyance by revealing strangers' most intimate secrets. According to witnesses, Clara could not touch blessed objects. She also had extraordinary strength, often beating up nuns who tried to restrain her. Allegedly, during several exorcisms, she levitated 5 feet in the air, tried to strangle one of the priests, and cried out like a savage beast before finally the demon was forced out and the girl was healed. Anna Eklund. In 1908, Anna Eklund was only 14 years old when she began showing signs of demonic possession after her caretakers reportedly cursed her by slipping magical herbs into her food. She would speak in tongues and in strange guttural voices. It is said that she would levitate and even cling to the walls of her bedroom. In 1912, Anna Eklund had her first exorcism performed, which brought relief for a short time. But soon, Anna became possessed again, but this time by multiple demons. In 1928, 3 exorcisms were conducted at a convent in Erling, Iowa, and reportedly Anna was finally cured. In 2016, the story was picked up by director Andrew Jones and transformed into a movie inspired by the true story called The Exorcism of Anna Eklund. Arnie Cheyenne Johnson. In 1981, the trial of Arnie Cheyenne Johnson, also known as the Devil Made Me Do It case, became the first known court case in the United States in which the defense pleaded not guilty by reason of demonic possession. In 1981, 19-year-old Arnie Johnson joined his girlfriend at the kennel where she worked with his sister and his girlfriend's cousin. Alan Bono, Johnson's landlord, came to bring the group lunch. Bono was heavily intoxicated when he started an argument with Arnie Johnson. Johnson, then growling like an animal, drew a 5-inch pocket knife and stabbed Bono repeatedly. Bono died several hours later, and Johnson was arrested. The day after the murder, the famous self-described demonologist couple Ed and Lorraine Warren, whom you may know from the Conjuring movies, told police that Johnson was possessed when the crime was committed. You see, Arnie Johnson had been present during one of the Warrens' exorcism rituals when the demon that possessed an 11-year-old boy fled the child's body to take up residence within Johnson. It was only months later that Johnson brutally murdered his landlord. Arnie Johnson's defense lawyer argued in court that he was possessed by a demon at the time of the crime, but the judge ruled that such a defense could never be proven. Anneliese Michel. The case of Anneliese Michel is one of the most well-known exorcisms of all time, with the Hollywood movie The Exorcism of Emily Rose inspired by her story. Born in Germany in 1952, Anneliese was raised by a Catholic family and grew up to be withdrawn and very religious. At only 16 years old, Anneliese experienced epileptic seizures and was diagnosed with temporal lobe epilepsy. Following a deep depression, the young girl was sent to a psychiatric hospital. It was during her stay that she started hearing voices. The voices would tell her that she was, quote, damned and would rot in hell. Anneliese was prescribed anticonvulsion drugs for continuous seizures and a drug used to treat various psychoses, including schizophrenia, disturbed behavior, and delusions. However, her health did not improve, and Annalise began to attribute it to demonic possession. At 20 years old, she complained about seeing, quote, devil faces, and became intolerant of sacred places and objects. Convinced that her problems were not medical, Annalise left the psychiatric hospital and went to San Damiano, a church near Assisi, Italy. Unfortunately, the Catholic girl soon worsened physically and displayed aggression and self-injury. She even began to drink her own urine and eat insects. Convinced that she was possessed, her family appealed for an exorcism. Though the appeal was rejected at first, 2 priests finally got permission from the local bishop in 1975. Annalise went through 67 exorcism sessions. During the sessions, she refused to eat. Eventually, Annalise died at her home on July 1st, 1976. She was only 23 years old. The autopsy report stated that the cause of death was malnutrition and dehydration. Her parents and the priest were charged with negligent homicide. One of the priests allowed a few of the exorcism sessions to be recorded. Here's a small clip of the truly disturbing audio tapes.
Und in der Kirche werden Herren feiern das jetzt unmodern halten.
Ja?
Ja.
Alle?
Warum?
Ja, warum?
Weil...
Pick me.